Greetings, lifetime athlete community and members of our Training Tribe. In today's relatively brief masterclass, you're going to join me, Coach JZ, and talk about moving forward with your agility. Now, as you know, here at the Lifetime Athlete, we utilize an annual training plan for our Training Tribe. That is a block periodized system in which we divide the year into 5 blocks of 2 to 3 months each. In that way, we can always be working on the 5 capacities of athleticism or human performance. And those can be presented in any order, but they are strength, speed, power, agility, and endurance. Well, we just finished up the agility block. And so we were touching on all of those elements, but we were emphasizing primarily the agility. I'm just going to show you a little bit about what we were doing and also what we'll be doing moving forward. First of all, you'll notice that we've got the words here which make up or comprise agility, and it really is a combination of mobility, stability, reactivity, and fluidity. The mobility is essentially that flexibility and range of motion to be able to move and occupy space adequately and comfortably. Stability is necessary in the body dynamically because as one thing is moving, we occasionally will need stability in another area. Now, reactivity is probably fairly obvious, but let's say you're skiing down the mountainside and you're reacting to the terrain and the environment, or you're on a court or field and you're reacting to things that your opponents are doing. Very important in the agile athlete to be able to do these things. And lastly, we've got fluidity, and I like to call that supple fluidity. So when you're moving, your motions are artistic, poetic, graceful, and onlookers tend to say things like, ah, when they see you moving. So we've been working on developing that, and how we did it was primarily in our gym micro workouts in December and January, doing a high variety of movements with an emphasis on practicing and improving the skill of movement, more so than thinking about at this time metabolic training or various types of conditioning gains that we will be looking for in the future. So what we did in that agility block was we emphasized agile components of training. Now, as we're moving into our resistance training focus, the strength and hypertrophy block, that's 3 months, February, March, and April, we're going to maintain agility as we really drill down on some of that wonderful resistance training, which can give you the nourishment or iron supplementation, as we like to call it. So when you look at how we break out our WOW or workouts of the week, you'll recognize that we have those columns, and we have a warm-up or preparatory column, a primary or main component of a workout, and then there's accessory. Well, what you recognize was when we were in the agility block, we were placing an emphasis on agility in the primary section. Now, when we get into our strength training block, strength and hypertrophy, we'll be touching on agility here and there in the prep and the accessory, but not so much in the main portion. I just want to give you that kind of picture of perspective, because as much as we talk about it, I think it's good to have some of these pictures. Also, I'd like to say that it takes quite a bit more effort to bring up or develop a capacity than it does to simply maintain it. So that's where we go through the year and we have those periodic times of emphasis so we can bring up or shore up one of the 5 capacities while not letting the others slip away too much. And that's kind of what these somewhat arbitrary bar charts are showing you. I wouldn't worry too much about units, but what you'll notice is we really did this in our agility block. And now as we move over into that strength and hypertrophy and resistance training focus, it's going to look a little bit more like this. One of the things that you'll probably notice as well is when we're doing agility-focused training, we're very often using unilateral movements that are multiplanar. In other words, 3-dimensional, or moving through 3 planes or space in a very shape-shifting manner, and a high variety of them, because again, that's what we're looking for with their skill acquisition. Now, however, much of our training is going to emphasize the way to put the best load into these human beastly bodies, and that's using bilateral, symmetrical, and sagittal plane exercises. And so sometimes those get poo-pooed. If you do too much of them all the time, you might lose some of your movement variability, but if you mix it up the way we do it here in the tribe, you tend to get outstanding results. It's also fun to have all that mixology going through the year. You never get bored, and it's really important. I love doing hard things, but I also think it's important to do fun things. And lastly, all of this stuff comes together, especially talking about agility, in being a movement smith. A movement smith for life, and a movement smith is someone who actually does own every position and who has mastery of motion in every direction. Thanks for joining me. I'll catch you next time.